2 of the Art Lewis Show. Open phones later on. But for the first part of this hour, we're going to talk about something happening at Northwood University in the very near future. It is a special fashion show, but it has a message behind it. We're going to find out about that this morning because the chairperson of the event, Trinity Birch, is with us this morning. Good morning. Whoops, hang on a second. Try that again. Good morning.
Good morning.
There you are. And nice to have you here, Trinity. Before we get to the fashion show, let's talk about Trinity. Your major is?
Fashion marketing and management.
And fashion, I keep hearing fashion, fashion, fashion. Fashion is your life.
Absolutely. It is something I'm so passionate about.
What drew you to it? I mean, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, I can't ask a lot of history. She's not that old. But you are passionate about it. What drew you to it?
Yeah, so I have been loving fashion since I was little, and I always knew I wanted to do it. And so when I found out that Northwood offered it as a business degree, I was all in, and I realized that this is something I could do in my future.
And not only did you do it, but you've accelerated through it. I mean, you've done your college in 3 years?
Yes, I have. I'll be getting my bachelor's here in 5 weeks.
Wow. And then you're going to do a master's in 1?
In 1 year, yep.
More power to you, kid, I'll tell you. That's amazing. So let me ask you this. You have this dream. You see Northwood offers the program. So you choose to go to Northwood for this program. Was it everything you expected?
Yes and no. So college itself was definitely a very crazy experience for me. Getting into the business world, I didn't realize just how much I would need to know. I know a bunch of things about finance now and accounting, and trust me, I'm not a math person. Right, but definitely the fashion part, I realized just how many careers were out there and just how many opportunities there were, including things like the fashion show.
Not just taking a pen to paper and making a design. Have you done that?
I have not. I cannot draw. Do not ask me to.
But you recognize good in fashion.
Yes, I do.
That's the key. That's the key. All right, so you become chairwoman of this fashion show. How often is this fashion show done? Is this the first or is
this is the 25th, so it's a special one for us.
It's a special one, 25th anniversary show.
Absolutely.
And I mentioned it carries a message.
It does.
So explain that.
Yeah, so this year's theme, I wanted to do something that was important to me and that was impactful, especially because it was the 25th show. So I decided to do a show about mental health. So our show is actually called The Fabric of Me because fabric makes up our clothing, and I believe that we are made up of all of our different aspects of ourselves. So whether that's our highs and our lows, you know, the experiences that we all have, and I wanted to show that we all go through similar things and that there's connection there.
All right, so I have to ask this question.
Yeah.
Because if you ask 100 people on the street, what is a fashion show, they're probably going to say, well, it's got a runway and people walk down the runway and show off clothes.
Mm-hmm.
How do you work a story into that about mental health?
Yeah, so our different segments, they tie together really well. My stylists have done a great job. So we actually borrow clothing from local boutiques and businesses around Michigan to showcase. And especially some of my first stylists, they are given like their prompts. And so they are given like heavy clothing details or like darker colors to showcase that weight that we all carry. And then it goes into segments with lighter, brighter colors, flowy things, and to showcase like that lighter feeling of when we're connected to other people.
So does the audience receive some kind of printed material that explains what's happening?
They do, yep. They'll get a little message and a little thing in their pamphlet that kind of explains it to them. So they won't be totally lost.
That's really fascinating. I've never heard of a fashion show being used that way before. It's pretty interesting. When is it?
So it is this Friday, April 11th at 7 p.m. at Northwood University.
One time only?
Yep.
And tickets?
Tickets are available on our website. So we're the Northwood University Fashion Showcase. We go by NUFS, or you can find them at northwood.edu.
And they cost?
So costs for adults are $40, and so for couples, we're doing a deal of $75. And for any students, that'll show an ID, $15.
And how long does it take to go through this?
My goal is to get this done in an hour and 15.
Your goal is?
Yep. I don't want to drag it out too long. I know people have a short attention span, so I'm trying to get them in and out in an hour and 15.
So who's doing all the modeling?
So it's actually our students. Our students sign up. So I have about, I want to say 40 models right now.
So this is, if I can put it this way, the fashion answer to the auto show.
Absolutely.
The auto show is student run. This show is student run.
Completely.
I assume there's a faculty advisor. There
Oh,
usually
yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yep, Dr. Scott Warner, he's actually my advisor this year, so he's taking over the merchandising and marketing program.
So you enter the fashion merchandising and marketing program. Have you worked in the industry at all? I mean, first of all, it's impolite to ask a young lady her age, but I'll ask anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm only 20.
So you can have a master's at 21.
I will, yeah.
Wow.
I know, it's crazy, but I actually work in retail right now, and I do a little bit of visual merchandising, and I help out with some buying at my boutique that I work at.
So what's your goal? I mean, you're in the, fashion merchandising and marketing. It's a big catch-all. Mm-hmm. What would you want to do, and who would you want to do it for?
So I always tell people my dream job is to be a merchandiser for Kate Spade. That is my favorite company, and the reason for that is I love the message because we all know the tragedy of Kate Spade. She took her own life, and so the company is focused on contributing to women's mental health organizations and investing in young women specifically. And that is something that I am passionate about, I want to do, and I would love to work for that company in the future.
Have you made contact with Kate Spade?
I have. So I've reached out, and we actually have a couple Northwood alum who work there. And so my goal is to get in contact with them and find my way up there.
Wow. Would you want to live in New York? Where is the fashion hub today? Is it still New York?
New York and Chicago for sure.
Yeah. New York's my hometown.
I love New York. I got to visit there once.
You ever done Fashion Week?
I have. It's incredible. It's something that I think everybody needs to experience at least once in their life.
No, I need to stay away from it. I used to stay away from that like the plague. You couldn't get anywhere near it,
I always tell people, everyone's a fashion person. If you wear clothes, if you buy clothes, you're a fashion person.
Absolutely. We all have our tastes, and that really is the interesting part of the fashion industry too. And the thing is, I've never been to one, but I've seen many, many videos of fashion shows walking the runway. And I can tell you that at about 90% of what I see, you will never, ever see on the street.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
And
Fashion
you say to yourself,
is this
why
concept.
do they do that? Why don't they put out there what they can actually sell?
Right.
But somebody buys it.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely, I think what I love most about the fashion shows themselves, it's art. They're showcasing, something crazy and out there, and it's an idea. They
certainly are.
And I love it.
But yet fashion also is a way of expressing oneself, isn't it?
Absolutely. What we wear, it's a reflection of, how we feel about ourselves and what we want to present to the world. And I always say when we're dressed our best, we feel our best.
So when I get up on a weekend morning and don't feel like doing anything and just throw on my slops.
That's okay. And that tells you, hey, I'm going to be comfy and I'm doing what I need to do for me.
It's funny because that's exactly the way I feel about it.
Uh-huh.
That is interesting. But I'm not one for formal wear. I mean, I got a tuxedo, but I hate to put it on, to be honest with you. And I'm even less enthused about ties. But it seems to me in this day and age, we've changed, at least in the men's fashion world. The tie is not as critical as it used to be.
No. We're actually, especially in the business world, I've noticed a
Yeah.
lot more places are becoming more casual. You're not seeing, suits and
More relaxed.
Yeah, I like it. It's a preference for me. I like the more casual. I know some people prefer the more formal, but I'm right there with you.
Welcome to my world. As you can tell. We will take a break and come back. We're talking to Trinity Birch. She is the chairwoman of the Northwood Fashion Show this Friday. We'll tell you more when we return.
Looking for signs and graphics of all
All right, we're back with you. We're talking to Tiffany Birch. She is the chairwoman of the upcoming fashion show at Northwood University. and it's a show with a message, and the message has to do with mental health. What drew you to that message, Tiffany?
So I'm actually an RA on campus, and one thing that we do is we do a training that was started by a fellow student. It's called the I Hear You Project, and that training was a training to get me mental health first aid certified. And so when we talk about being first aid certified, we think about, you're physically able to help people. And so having the certification helps me to be able to be a safe person for people to share stuff with. And doing trainings and stuff like that and learning about the different struggles that people go through and having my own struggles in life, I decided that with this show, I wanted to make an impact and share that passion with other people.
Yeah, I have to. First of all, I'm impressed with you. No two ways about that.
Thank you.
But at this time in our lives, when suicide is so prevalent, and that does not exclude college campuses, you need people that can understand and can listen.
Absolutely. I think it is so powerful when people take the time to learn how to talk to people about heavy stuff. I think it's really easy for us to try to ignore those things because they're uncomfortable, but it's a reality that many of us go through, especially young adults, especially young kids in college right now. We were in high school when COVID happened, and, we lost a lot of that connection and those skills of how to talk to people about those uncomfy things and those feelings that we all have.
You're a local girl.
I am. I am from St. Charles, Michigan.
St. Charles, Michigan.
The village, the small village that it is.
It's a great village, though. Nothing wrong with St.
Absolutely.
Charles. It's a nice place. When you mentioned you've had struggles like everybody else. How do you cope with them?
So one thing that I have learned from all of my trainings and talking to people is that reaching out is the biggest thing that you can do, because sometimes people are really good at hiding your struggles, and some people don't know. And so if you reach out and you ask for help, that is so powerful.
It's an interesting comment, because most experts will tell you people don't reach out until they hit rock bottom.
Absolutely.
And if they had reached out sooner, they wouldn't have gotten to rock bottom.
Right. And I think one really big thing that we focus on in our trainings is knowing the signs of people struggling, because it's not always going to be obvious. You're not going to have, people come up to you and say, I'm not doing well and I need help. Sometimes it's just them pulling back. You don't see them as much. Maybe it's they have missed class twice this week and you're thinking, where are they? Maybe I should shoot them a text, see if they're okay, or invite them to lunch or something.
It's recognizing the signs.
Right. And I think the more people that do that and take the time to educate themselves on seeing those signs, it's a huge help, because it helps people that are struggling to reach out.
So let me bring this back to your passion. What role does fashion have in helping us get through our struggles?
So ever since I was little, I have loved using fashion to express myself and to make a statement to people. And we think about, when we're going through those tough times, right, we use clothing as a comfort. We think about wearing those comfortable clothing, things that make us feel good about ourselves. And I think fashion can be a powerful tool to tell our story, as well as to, find something to be passionate about. And for me, that is expressing it through clothing. And I think a lot of other people can find some similarity in that too.
When you say expressing it through clothing, the fashion industry has a habit of changing. Trends change, colors change, styles, you name it, patterns. How do you buy a wardrobe that changes, or are you more of the conservative type buyer that I'm buying this and it's going to be good 5 years from now?
I joke with my friends all the time, but I am so frugal with my money. So I make sure that
there's nothing wrong with that.
So I make sure if I'm going to buy something, it's going to last me. I'm going to be able to wear it, because as much as I love fashion, it is a pendulum. So it swings back and forth. That's why we see trends from the 80s and 90s come back, right? I think right now 2000s fashion is huge. We're seeing the low-rise jeans come back. We're seeing, the hairstyles come back too. And for me, I'm a little bit more something that'll last, a little bit conservative with it, but from time to time I will buy into a trend here and there.
And the fashion industry depends on that, doesn't
Absolutely.
it? Absolutely. But I go back to what I said earlier about the runway shows. I mean, we see stuff on those shows, and you shake your head going, nobody's going to wear that,
Absolutely.
Yet the
definitely
designers
hard.
get big names because of that, don't they?
Well, right. When we think about like those big designers, right, we think about big, huge productions, and there's a reason why people watch them. They're so cool. And we're
Well,
in
yeah, I mean,
awe.
it's a show.
Yeah, exactly. It's a performance. It's kind of what I like to say, and so it's cool to look at the art, and that's what it is. It's art to be appreciated. But then when it trickles down into like us and like
Well, what ends
normal
up on the
stores.
shelf is different than
Exactly.
what we see at the
Yep,
shows.
exactly. And so it's
And
the idea. of it.
Unless you're going to spend thousands of dollars on a dress.
Oh, right.
Yeah, then
And-
you're going to find some of that,
Right. The people that got the
elitist
money to
stuff.
spend, more power to them.
Yeah, but I don't know if they look any better because of it.
Oh, right.
It's really, you can buy trendy clothes at reasonable prices and look just as good as somebody that spent thousands of dollars on their wardrobe.
Oh, absolutely. I like to call myself the queen of thrifting. Secondhand stores are my favorite.
Oh, I have a friend who's that way. Oh my goodness, every one of them, and I think she knows every hour that they're open, and every day the particular sale is for this color item and this
Yep.
colored ticket. But she's found tremendous bargains.
Oh, absolutely. You can find name brands because it's people who they're donating, they're done with it.
Yeah,
And so
I mean,
finds a new home in
well,
my wardrobe.
My late wife had a habit of donating
Yep.
in the back door, and then she'd walk around the front door and buy. And more than once, she picked up something she had just donated a couple of weeks ago and went, "Oh no, wait a minute, I had this ready."
Yep. Got to be careful about that.
Don't rebuy what you just gave them, But it's a fun thing. So the fashion show, where is it held?
So it's held at Northwood University in our Hawk Student Life Center. So basically our gymnasium, we transform it. And when you walk in, you're not even able to tell it's a gym. It looks like a huge stage with curtains and everything.
Do you do like a runway show?
We do, yep. So our stage this year, it's just like a formal runway, big straight line. And so I think it's about, 64 feet. So if you can picture how big that is.
How many students participate? How many models do you have?
Yeah, so our models, we have about 40. And then my e-board alone has about 22 people.
Your what board?
My e-board. We
Your
call it It's our
e-board.
executive board.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. We call it e-board, just to shorten it, but it's our executive board. So that consists of my marketing people, my finance people, student design. So those are students who have handcrafted their own clothing. Our stylists who take clothing from boutiques and put them together.
I was going to ask that because fashion is more than marketing. Somebody has to design the clothes. Is that a portion of the education at Northwood? Can you take fashion design?
So we are a business school, so we don't do designs, but we do focus on classes like apparel analysis or looking specifically at like textiles too. So you can get kind of it, but definitely if you want to be a designer, you should definitely go to design school.
But some of your students do design.
Some do, and I have a couple friends who are, after they're getting their degree here at Northwood, they're going to be transferring over to a design school so they can have both ends of it to open their own businesses.
Show is
Friday, April 11th,
Friday, April 11th. What time?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. in the gymnasium. What's it called?
It's the Hawk Student Life Center.
Huck Student Life Center. Well, Trinity, this has been a pleasure, and you are the type of person that encourages me about the future because you really got your act together, young lady.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I can't wait to see what the future holds and see your name on the cover of some fashion magazine sometime.
That's the goal, isn't it?
Well, good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Tiffany Birch, she is the chairwoman of the upcoming fashion show, which will have a theme, and it's a journey of mental health awareness, and it's called The Fabric of Me. And you can attend at Northwood University this Friday, 7 o'clock. And tickets are available where?
On our website, but they'll also be sold at the door. So that's our Northwood University Fashion Showcase.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Trinity.
Thank you.
We'll take a break, come back, we'll have open phones for the remainder of the hour.
Attention, all Mega Millions.
And let us now go back to the phones for the remainder of the hour. And Al is in Bay City. Good morning, Al.
Yeah, Arthur, I want to talk about the Tigers. I really think the Tigers have got their act together this year, and it looks like they're going to really go really far. So what's your take on the Tigers?
Well, I'll tell you what. The start was slow out in Los Angeles when they lost those first 3 games, but they certainly got their act together after that. They have been on fire, and the best thing about it is what they're doing to the Yankees in this series. They've already taken the series. They won 2 games. They got 1 more today. And so much for those, whatever they call those bats, tornado bats, turbo bats, whatever they are. They haven't done the job for the Yankees, and the Tigers have managed to find, home runs in their bats. More power to them. They're looking great. The pitching staff is terrific. And I think they have a good chance of going quite far this year, as long as they keep it up. Now, remember, it's a long season. Injuries happen, as we've seen in center field. And, you have to stay healthy. But right now, anyway, man, they're looking undeniable. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, also the Pistons are looking good this year, and the Red Wings.
Yeah, Red Wings are going to miss the playoffs more than likely, but they look better. They're competitive this year. That's good.
Pistons will make the playoffs this year.
I think so too.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Good
yeah,
enough.
I'm really happy about the Tigers. I'm really glad to see them
Me too.
start playing.
Me too.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Good enough. Take care. Bye
Bye.
now. And let's talk to Jean in Bay City. Jean, good morning to you.
Good morning. I've always felt that America was so great because of all the different countries in the world, a lot of the smartest and best people come here. And that variety of people and having the best of the best from different countries is what's made America so great.
Oh, yeah, we're a country of immigrants.
Well, they had on the news, I don't know all the details, but they have canceled some of the visas for people from other countries that are in our colleges with no reason. Now,
I don't know if there's no reason. I haven't heard.
All the I'm sorry, say it again.
I don't know all the details either, so it's hard to say what the reasons are.
Well, the one lady at Saginaw Valley is from India. Now,
Doesn't matter where you're from, it's what the reason is. And I don't know what the reason is.
They gave her no reason, and I guess there's several others. And, myself, my doctor is from India. And, I mean, she's an exceptional doctor. I just love her.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to have some dental work done, and the oral surgeon, he also was from India. And I don't know if they start discouraging some of the smartest and the best from other countries, by canceling their visas and not allowing them in here, they're hurting America.
Well, time's going to tell. Again, we don't know the reasons. We don't know why those people were selected. And I'd like to know, but I don't. Have no idea.
I hope maybe you can find out, maybe talk about it at a later date when we know more about it.
Well, when we know more about it, yes.
Some of the things that's not in the news very much either. Well, like the suicide hotline, that's something we no longer are paying for or helping to pay for, and they have been, as you know, in the grade schools, they've been going into the library and taking out books, which there's probably a lot of good to that. Who knows what exactly. But now in Harvard, they are saying that they went into Harvard and took out 40 books.
Who's they?
Some government agency.
The government agency did it, or did Harvard do it?
Well, these books are banned. Who banned them?
Harvard could have banned them.
Well, I just don't. I love to read, and I just don't think that's a good idea to ban any books from adults. I mean, you have to learn all the different angles and things to realize what's good and evil. in banning books for adults, I think is really that's the type of thing Hitler did. You know, I just some of these minor things, because everybody's so obsessed with tariffs right now, they're not paying any attention to some of these other things that are going on. But anyway, thanks for listening.
All righty.
And you have a great afternoon.
You too, Gene. Thanks. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
All right, lines open, 989-752-6111. Still have a few minutes left to get on, and we'll do it after this.
Sumo, sushi,
All right, we're back with you here on the Art Lewis Show. We'll get back to our phones now. Carl is in Saginaw. Carl, good morning.
Good morning, Art. I was seeing in the news that the world price of oil is now below $60 a barrel.
Yeah, it's been hovering around that mark.
Yeah, but I also noticed the price of gasoline here locally doesn't seem to reflect,
No, in most places it's like that. Right now, the last I heard, yesterday I think I heard that the commodity price on gasoline was $2.02 a gallon, which would translate to about $2.70 a gallon in the marketplace. So we're well above what it should be, but it's always been that way.
It's not always that way.
It's been that way most of the time. You can figure it's padded a little bit.
Okay, well, I just thought I thought maybe we'd see prices coming down.
The bigger question is this. Here's my question. Why, if I go out of the studio onto Tittabawassee Road, will I see maybe, I don't know what it is right now, 329, 334, whatever it is? I can guarantee you, if I go down to the Bridgeport exit off I-75, it'll be at least 20 to 25 cents cheaper.
Yes.
And I'm not sure why that is, other than the fact that competition may be driving it. And I don't understand it. But then again, I've never understood the price.
Yeah, trying to figure out the price of gasoline, good luck. I mean...
Yeah, and I've tried to get some folks on to explain it, and good luck is the term I come up with. It's,
Yeah.
It's one of the great mysteries of life.
Yes, it is. We were talking yesterday about manufacturing coming back. One point that I failed to make yesterday, I'm afraid that even if like Ford decides to build a new factory in Detroit, I don't think it's going to be where they hire 2,000 people to work in this factory. It's going to be more like they hire a couple hundred people, to service the automated machines.
Well, gee whiz, that's a couple of hundred people more than are working right now.
Yeah, I suppose. But Art, back in the 1960s, manufacturing, I think, was about 30% of the workforce in the United States.
Let me ask you a question, Carl. Do we live in the 60s? Or do we live in the 2020s?
Yes, we do, and we live in a world economy now.
That's right.
And we're not going to go back to the 60s. And I don't think most people, if they really thought about it, want to go back to the 60s. And
there were things in the 60s I would like to go back to. And manufacturing is one of them. I had no problem with manufacturing. I think it's wonderful. A lot of jobs and a lot of good-paying jobs. We have them coming here. That this area, the Great Lakes Bay region, is going to be a hotbed of job search. Corning is going to look for 1,100 people at that new billion-dollar facility in Hemlock. Hemlock Semiconductor is looking for a couple of hundred people. SK Siltron in Bay City is looking for a couple of hundred people. Where are they going to find them? And then where are we going to house them? But there's an example of manufacturing and what it can provide. Hopefully they will fill all those positions, and they're all good-paying jobs.
Yes, I hope they do. And as far as housing, I would suggest a city like Saginaw, there are houses for sale in Saginaw, and they're not that expensive. And no, it may not be your dream home in the suburb of a 3-bedroom ranch, but as a starter